So today we're going to take some notes on writing linear equations from a table. So notice we have linear. These are linear equations, which is what we've spent the last week talking about. We looked at the graphs of linear and exponential functions. So today we're going to write the equations of just the linear ones, which means that it's going to be a line when we graph it. So step one says to find the pattern in the domain. Remember, our domain just means our x values. The second step says find the pattern in the range. Remember, range just means our y values. And then the third step says we're going to find the rate of change. And to find the rate of change, we're going to take the change in our range, which is y, and divide it by the change in our domain, which is our x. And there's actually another word for rate of change. We could call this our slope, which you've probably heard before, or we can use the variable m. So rate of change and slope and the variable m all mean the same thing. Then it says we're going to determine the value of our y when x equals 0, and that is called our y-intercept. Then to write our equation, we're going to fill in this equation here. So y equals mx plus b. That's our equation that we're going to use. And in this equation, the m is going to stand for your slope or for your rate of change. Those are the same thing. And the b is going to stand for the y-intercept. Okay, let's look at the first example. So it says write the linear equation that represents the table. So the first two steps said that we need to find our pattern. We need to find our pattern in our domain and the pattern in our range. So the domain is our x, so we're going to come over here and we have 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3. So our pattern here is to add 1. And then we're going to come over to our y. We have 5 to 8, 8 to 11, and 11 to 14. So our pattern here is to add 3, and that works every single time. So our next step is we're going to find our rate of change. So our rate of change is also called our slope, or we can use the variable m. These all mean the same thing. And to find the rate of change, we're going to take the pattern in the range, which is our y, which in this case is 3, and we're going to divide it by our pattern in our x, or our domain, which is 1. So 3 divided by 1 will give us 3. Then our next step, we're going to find our y-intercept. And to find the y-intercept, you're going to go to where x equals 0 in the table and go across from it and find our y value, which is 5. So that's our y-intercept. Then we're going to fill in our equation, which was y equals mx plus b. So we're going to have y equals, and the m is our slope or our rate of change, which in this case was 3. Put our x with it, plus b is our y-intercept, which is 5, and that's our answer. Let's try another example. So once again, the first step is to find the pattern in the domain, which is our x. So we have 0 to 2 and 2 to 4, so that means we're adding 2. And then to find our pattern in our range, which is our y, so we have 10 to 14, and then 14 to 18. That means we're adding 4. Step 3 is to find your rate of change, or your slope, or your m, whichever one you want to call it. So you're going to take the pattern of your y, which is your range, so 4, and divide it by the pattern in your x, which is your domain, which we said is 2. So 4 divided by 2 will give us 2. The second step is to find your y-intercept, which is your variable b. So go to the table and find where x is equal to 0, and go to the number across from it in the y column, which is 10. And then the last step, you fill in your equation y equals mx plus b. So we'll say y equals, so m is your rate of change, or your slope, which is 2. Put an x beside it. And then we're going to add our y-intercept, which is our b, so plus 10. So y equals 2x plus 10. So let's look at the next example. So our pattern in our domain, so we have 3, 6, and 9, so we're adding 3. And our pattern in our range, so 30 to 60 to 90, so it looks like we're adding 30. So our rate of change, or our slope, is going to be the pattern in the range, or the y, which is 30, divided by the pattern in the domain, or the x, which is 3. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. So our next step is to find our y-intercept, and that's when x is equal to 0 in the table. Well, if we look at the table, we don't have an x equals 0. So we're going to have to find our 0. So we have 9, we have 6, we have 3. So if we follow the same pattern going backwards, our next x would be 0. So 9 minus 3 is 6, 6 minus 3 is 3, 3 minus 3, that gives us a 0. So on our y side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go backwards. 90 minus 30 gives us the 60. 60 minus 30 gives us that 30. And then 30 minus 30 will give us a 0. So across from the x equals 0, y is also equal to 0. So then our equation, y equals mx plus b. So y equals our m, which is our rate of change or slope. So 10x plus, and our b is our y-intercept, which is 0. And when you add 0, it doesn't change anything, so I'm just going to leave this as y equals 10x. Okay, another example here. So find the pattern in our x, or in the pattern of our domain. So 0 to 4 to 8 to 12. So it looks like we're adding 4 there. And then the pattern in the range, so 8 to 16, 16 to 24, 24 to 32. Looks like we're adding 8 there. So that's what helps us find our rate of change, or our slope. So we take the pattern in the y, which is 8, divided by the pattern in the domain, which is our x, which is 4. 8 divided by 4 will give us 2. The next step is to find our y-intercept. So go to your table to where x equals 0, and go to what's across from it, which is 8. So then fill in your equation, your y equals mx plus b. So y equals, m is our slope or our rate of change, so 2, put an x beside it, plus our y-intercept, which is 8, and there's our answer. Alright, let's have you try these last few examples as you tries. So pause the video, try to write out the equation, see what you get, come back and watch the video, make sure you have it correct. So let's find our pattern in our domain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's easy enough. So we're just adding 1 each time. On the right side in the y, the range, we have 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and 5.5. So it looks like we're going up by 0.5 each time. Okay, so our rate of change, or our slope, would be the pattern of the y, so 0.5 divided by the pattern in the domain, which is our x. So 0.5 divided by 1 is still 0.5. Our y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So we don't have a 0 in this table, so we'll need to add it. So we're going to go backwards. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 0 would be the next number at the top. And we're going down by 0.5. So 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, which would make this one 3.0, or just 3. So across from x equals 0, our y is 3. So our y-intercept is 3. So our equation, y equals mx plus b, so we'll fill that in. So y equals, m is our slope or rate of change, so 0.5x plus the y-intercept, which is 3. Alright, let's do this one as a you try as well. So once again, pause the video, try it on your own, then come back and make sure you have it correct. So let's find the pattern in our domain. So -2, 0, 2, 4, and 6. So it looks like we're adding 2 each time here. And our pattern in our range, our y, so 14 to 8, 2, -4, -10. Now notice this time it's getting smaller, so it means you're subtracting here. So this time we're subtracting 6. So our rate of change would be -6 divided by 2, which is a -3. Our y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So find x equals 0 and go across from it. So our y-intercept is 8. And then we're going to write our equation. So y equals, our rate of change is negative 3x. Our y-intercept, so plus 8. So y equals negative 3x plus 8. Last example, so try this one as you try as well. So the pattern in our domain, we have 2, oops, sorry about that. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it looks like we're adding 2 here. And then our pattern in our range, so negative 4 to 0, 4 to 8 to 12. So we're increasing by 4, so we're adding 4. Then we're going to find our rate of change. So the pattern in our range, which is 4, divided by the pattern in our domain, which is 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then our y-intercept. So find where x is equal to 0. So notice we don't have a 0. So we're going to need this to fill this in. So we're going to go backwards on our table. So 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. So the next number at the top would be 0. So same thing in the y. So 12, 8, 12, 8, 4. So we're subtracting 4. 0, negative 4. So negative 4 minus 4 will give us negative 8. So where x is equal to 0, go across from it, which is negative 8. And then our equation, y equals mx plus b. So y equals the slope or rate of change, so 2x. Notice our y-intercept this time is negative 8, so we'll say minus 8.